All right, everybody. Good evening and welcome to Triple Threat Wrestling Radio. We are live right here on Ustream.tv. It is Friday, June the 14th, 2013. We hope you all having a great start to the weekend thus far. As always, my name is Kenny C. Joining you this evening for the next hour. We'll get into the recaps. We'll get into the predictions for Payback in just a moment. But I'm joined with a great friend of mine. She's an indie pro wrestler. This is her third time on the show, her second time in 2013. She has been in Magnificent Ladies Wrestling. This and a week from Saturday will be her second appearance, and she's going to be in the July tapings as well. And you can also add internet radio co-host to her resume of Reality Check Cage Heat Radio. I'm John with Paris Kelly. She is back. What's going on, Paris?
Not much. How are you?
Doing real good. Thank you for joining me once again. It's always great talking to you.
I love it.
You've been quite a busy woman as of late. How you feeling these days?
I'm doing pretty good. Like you said, I've just been busy wrestling and everything else you can think of.
Well, let's start off with internet radio co-host to your resume. You are now a co-host of Reality Check Cage Heat Radio. You made your debut this past Tuesday, if memory serves me correctly.
Yep, you're right. It is so much fun. I love it. Now I see how you feel when you do this. This is so much fun. You get to meet new people and hear interesting stories. I love it.
What I want to know is what made you decided to do internet radio? I mean, did they reach out to you? Did you reach out to them? How did that came about?
Well, he wanted me to be on his show, and had some problems going on there, and he messaged me and he was like, "I have an important question." And I was like, "What is it?" And he said, "I would like for you to be a co-host on Reality Check Radio on Tuesdays. Would you like to do it?" I said, "Well, yeah, I would love to do it." So it just started off from there, and I just fell in love with it.
So after you been through that first show, I mean, I guess going through that first radio show is kind of like going through that first wrestling match. I mean, the butterflies were kicked in, but eventually everything else fall into place. I mean, how did you feel about your internet radio co-hosting debut?
Oh, it was so nerve wracking. I kept on telling him, I was like, "Oh, I don't know about this. I don't know about it." I was like, "I don't know if I should have committed to this." He was like, "Once you get in that first question and you'll start loosening up and it'll just be fun." And I was like, "Are you sure about this?" And he was like, "Yeah." And when I did it, I was like, "Oh my goodness." It was it was very nerve wracking, but we interviewed two people, and I got the first one out of the way, and it was like the second one. It was just like you've been doing it for a while. So
It looks like it's going to be a lot more interesting going forward for you because not only are you just going to interview, you're going to be interviewing people, but you're going to be interviewing fellow wrestlers. Just maybe learn for them, get some insight, get some perspective, things like that.
yeah, um, we're gonna be interviewing some big names this Tuesday, so it should be a lot of fun.
So people can listen to you on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's going to be on Blog Talk Radio, Reality Check, Cage Heat Radio. Uh, I'm so proud of you, girl. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, it's a big experience, and it'll help me get out there a lot more. So
Do you
it's a lot of fun.
do you think that you being interviewed on this show, being interviewed on other shows, kind of help you, got you into doing this, doing
Oh,
the
yes. Yeah.
So let's talk some Magnificent Ladies Wrestling. The last time I interviewed you, it was before you made your debut, and now that you went through the whole Magnificent Ladies Wrestling experience, you had, I believe, 4 to 5 matches that you did, and I gotta ask you about the match with $1 Million Baby with all that blood. I mean, what was your reaction when you and $1 Million Baby saw the script for that match? And what was your reaction to it?
Well, I started reading through it all. And I was reading that I needed a belly to back suplex and a body slam and all this stuff. And then I got to the part where it said that she needed to bleed after I hit her with the belt. And I was like, well then, I guess it's what I got to do. So I went ahead and did it. And it was crazy because that was my first blood match. So I'm going to be having one next Saturday too.
And what was the reaction you got from your friends, your wrestling peers when they saw pictures and the footage of that match? What was their reaction? Were they like, "Wow, wait a minute now"?
Yes. They're like, you seriously did that? And I was like, yes, I did. They're like, why would you do that? And I said, the person paid for it. I had to follow through with it. So,
I mean, it is what it is, and wrestlers, you go through pain, you go through, and blood will pop in every now and then. I mean, it's not often,
hmm
and if people seen footage of matches from Magnificent Ladies Wrestling in the past, there has been blood that's been requested by the customers. So, and I mean, it's it's you give the people what they want, and it's a respectable company. It's not like they're gonna do anything that's way out there. You're a fan. You watch wrestling on TV on the computer, and there's blood. On YouTube. It happens. So you
yeah.
give the people what they want. Um, there's been a lot of talk about what the future hold for Magnificent Ladies Wrestling, but I'm sure you're aware of it by now that the company is going to have a new owner, but it's not going anywhere. Destiny will be taking over effective June 22nd. What was your thoughts about everything, particular from the uncertainty, and now they have someone that's going to fill in for Thomas and Susan going forward? How do you feel about the changes that's coming from Magnificent Ladies Wrestling?
Well, at first we didn't know that if it was going to get bought or not. So that was in the air. There was a lot of people looking at it, and then we found out about a couple of weeks ago that she was going to be buying it. We found out on Facebook, and I was so excited because I really like MLW, and I didn't want to see it go to waste. But after she bought it, we were all happy. I was happy, and I really care for Destiny. So, and I know that she'll be good at it. She's an awesome woman.
Destiny is a household name for the company, and if there's anyone that should, you know, continue the tradition, it's definitely her. At least not only she's an owner, but she's going to be wrestling as well. So she's doing double duty. And then we got the July 27th tapings coming up. You're going to be there, as well as I'm looking through the list of ladies here. You got Anita Page, you got Baby, Denisha D. Rose, Destiny, Devin Nicole, Jennifer Justice, my fellow Kentuckian, Jesse Bell, Lady Vixen, a little bit, Melanie Cruz, $1 Million Baby, um, Mina Monet, Pandora, and yourself. Um, And I know I've asked you this before. That was with the April tapings. Now asking you with the July tapings, people can now get their scripts in of all the ladies that I've mentioned, and you have faced one or two before. Who are some of the ladies that's including in the tapings, just so the fans can get a good idea of who would you rather have matches with? Who would you like to go up against and for the July tapings?
Well, of course, I would want to go against Anita and Million Dollar Baby because they're really fun to work with. But I would like to go with Pandora, Deb and Nicole, really any of them because I like all of them. So,
So everybody go to magnificentladieswrestling.com and get your scripts in. I don't know what the deadline is, but I do know that people got plenty of time. And look, it's a huge opportunity. This is the first tapings in the Destiny era. So let's give Destiny a lot of scripts, especially with Paris Kelly. You got to put Paris Kelly in there. Get her some matches. She loves this company and she wants to make a name for herself, obviously. So the more matches she get, the more appearances she will get. So go make it happen. MagnificentLadiesWrestling.com is the website. Go check it out. So, Paris, do you have some upcoming shows with TWE or any other companies you want to promote?
yes, of course, I have that one and that's coming up next weekend at MLW. I have one with TWE at July 13th in Greenville and August 17th in Greenville. So those are the upcoming ones that I have right now.
Oh, all right. So everybody go check those out. Make sure you support local indie pro wrestling near you, and make sure you support Paris Kelly, now internet radio co-host. I definitely will be tuning in on Tuesday nights. It's a lot of fun. I'm a fan of the show. I'm a fan of the show, and I'm a more fan now that you're on. So, all I can say is you did a fantastic job this past Tuesday, and keep up the good work. You're in good hands. So, just job well done.
Thank you.
Um, well, Paris, it's the weekend. You go. I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. As always, thank you for being on. You're always welcome to be on this show, and just keep in touch. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. I'll always support you.
And I support you as well. You have a good night, Paris.
All right, thank you. You too.
All right, bye bye.
Bye.
That was Paris Kelly joining me here on Triple Threat Wrestling Radio, kicking things off. Reality Check Cage Heat Radio, Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you check them out. Paris made her debut as of this past Tuesday night. Um, we're gonna go ahead and recap Raw. Got main event, got Impact, got SmackDown, and my payback predictions. And I'm just closing all these windows as I go on with this show. I mean, it's a lot of fun, man. Something interesting happened, and it turned out to be a first on not just in SmackDown but in WWE. And you know what they say, first times are for everything, but I'm gonna get into all that. And I gotta talk about tomorrow night. Impact Wrestling is coming to Impact Wrestling is coming to the Whittaker Bank Ballpark. That's going to be at Lexington, Kentucky tomorrow evening. The meet and greet for those ringside ticket holders, including myself. Shout out to Damien. Shout out to Paige. Shout out to a Joe. Was it Joe? Yeah, it's Joe. Shout out to Joe. Shout out to Damien. Shout out to Paige. Those are three friends that will be there. They're gonna be ringside tickets as well. I don't know if we're gonna be in the same row or not, but at least we'll be in the same areas per se. So, oh, another thing I want to bring up before I go any further here. What I want to bring up, ladies and gentlemen, is that I was originally supposed to have an interview with Hudson Envy on the live show, but I found out early in the week that she was booked for a show, and I'm doing the show tonight from 10 to 11 p.m. Eastern, so her interview will not make the live show. Her interview will not make the live show. Her interview will end up being recorded. So you'll likely hear Paris' interview on the YouTube within the next on the YouTube channel within the next hour or two. I'm definitely gonna have it posted before I go to bed tonight. And then I may have Hudson's interview posted tomorrow night after Impact Wrestling show. It's only a 30-minute drive. So my plan is I'm going to work tomorrow for 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And then I go from 4:30 to 5, the 4:30 to 5 p.m. And let's just say that it's going to be a what's the word I'm looking for? The 5 o'clock will be the meet and greet. And for those who got the Sting VIP bundle, I was a bit curious about that at first because I looked at all the info and I did not see that the time for that particular meet and greet. Well, thanks to Jimmy J of TNA Shop, thanks to TNA Shop, Jimmy J at TNA Shop. I had a brain freeze for a moment. But thanks to Jimmy J, I now know that the Sting meet and greet will be at 6:45. You're getting a scoop right here on Triple Threat West Radio. Yes, he actually replied back to me on Twitter. So I'm assuming that the meet and greet will be from 5:30 to 6, maybe 5:30 to 6:30. It's gonna be a lot interesting, and only 50 VIP bundles are available about a week ago. But according to TNA's Impact Wrestling's Twitter, there's only a few left. I'm fortunate to purchase my bundle as of Tuesday, this past Tuesday. So I will get the chance, I will get the privilege to meet the Icon Sting. He's not going to be at the meet and greet at 5:30. So if you think Sting's going to be there, well, he's not. If you got the Sting VIP bundle, you get to see him 6:45. Now, if you just have the VIP if you just have the meet and greet with the ringside seat, obviously you're going to get a chance to meet everybody else that is scheduled. You know what? Since I got plenty of time here, I'm going to give y'all another scoop here. I'm going to give y'all the scoop on who's going to be competing at the Lexington, Kentucky show at Impact. Hulk Hogan, no, he's not going to be there. And one of my friends was like, you know, I will only go there if Hulk Hogan is there. I said Hulk Hogan is not going to be there. Or at least he's not scheduled to be on the card. So, I don't know what to say about that. But here are the people that are scheduled to be at the Impact Wrestling show at the Whitaker Bank Ballpark as part of the Impact Wrestling Base Brawl Tour. They're going to be doing shows throughout the summer at minor league baseball leagues. And let me tell y'all something. This is not only the first TNA Impact Wrestling show I'm going to, but this will also be the first wrestling show I'm going to outdoors. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So, before I do get into the whole card, I'm trying to. Okay, the Sting VIP bundle package. Shop TNA is giving 50 people the opportunity to meet the icon Sting in person when Impact Wrestling invades Lexington, Kentucky. Including in the VIP bundle are the following: a t-shirt, an action figure guaranteed to be autographed, a set of gloves, a hat, a mask, a banner, an autographed 8x10, an autographed Louisville Slugger baseball bat, a meet and greet, and a 4x6 digital photo with yourself and the icon to be commemorated the occasion. This is the 4th year that Base Brawl brings the action pack of Impact Wrestling to minor league baseball parks around the country, providing a family-oriented wrestling event. Compete with your favorite TNA superstars. Here are the card. You got AJ Styles going up against Garrett Bischoff of the Aces and Eights. Jeff Hardy goes up against Mr. Anderson. And then we got 3 championships matches. 3 championships will be on the line at Lexington. First, the Knockouts title as Vegas Guys the challenger, Mickey James the champion. And then we got the X Division title as Chris Sabin goes up against my fellow Kenny, as in Kenny King. Then the tag team titles will be on the line as James Storm and Gunner, team up to take on Bobby Roode and Austin Aries. And then the main event, Sting and Kurt Angle, the TNA Hall of Famers, will be teaming up to take on Devon and World Champion Bully Ray. Ticket starts at $15, and fans who purchase a $65 ticket will receive a special meet and greet with selected Impact Wrestling superstars at 5:30, redeemable with the ticket the night of the show. So there you have it. I got all that out the way. Now, let's recap Monday Night Raw from this past Monday night. Started off with Triple H. Looked like he was going to finally get his redemption. His one-on-one match against Curtis Axel. Remember, the week prior, McMahon, Vince, and Stephanie, different reactionaries, but Stephanie begged Hunter not to have this match, while Vince had a different tone. Said, don't do something you're going to regret. So, the match was going on. The bell sounded. Axel and Triple H going at it. Vince McMahon comes out. Asked the bell to be rung. And then Curtis Axel was ruled the winner by disqualification. And then as Vince left, Triple H demanded that the match will be restarted. That's what happened. Vince McMahon came right back, asked the bell to be rung again, and then asked the match to be ruled a forfeit. Curtis Axel beat Triple H again. And as Vince McMahon is on his way out, Triple H demanded the match to be restarted, only this time a 60-minute Iron Man match. And then Vince came right back, and not only did he got on the microphone, not only he left, but this time he took the bell with him, and he told Axel and Heyman to bounce. So Triple H didn't quite get what he wanted, but I guess they eventually hugged it out, Team Hell No style. And now it appears that Triple H not going to be facing Curtis Axel anytime soon. And what a coincidence at Payback, Curtis Axel will be there after all. I have an update on that momentarily. Kane took on Dean Ambrose, and the match ended by disqualification. And then Ziggler made an appearance. You also had Miz defeated Cody Rhodes. You also had Jericho defeated Big E, and then Del Rio sent Ziggler right into the side of the ring there. Now remember, he's a month removed from the concussion, so that's not what Ziggler needed there. Cesaro defeated Cesaro. Sandow defeated Truth. And WWE fans via WWE app was voted on whether Daniel Bryan should face Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns. WWE fans via WWE app has spoken. He ends up facing Seth Rollins. If you voted for Seth Rollins to face Daniel Bryan this past Monday night, you deserve a round of applause. Give yourself a round of applause, because that was the match of the night. Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins did not disappoint. Can't say the same. And a poor Roman Reigns, who didn't get voted. However, he did get a consolation prize. He get to face Randy Orton one-on-one. That match, let's see, that ended at a no contest. So, and then, of course, Cena and Ryback had their confrontation. A lumberjack confrontation. That was crazy. Those two went at it, gave us a preview. Oh, and by the way, Caitlin's secret admirer turned out to be Biggie Langston. And let's just say it ended up being a trick. Caitlyn got bamboozled on national television. Biggie Langston, he's a beast. But I am questioning his style. But that shirt he was wearing, what was that, Biggie? Come on, Biggie. You're representing for the brothers, man. I know you don't have a bigger budget. You don't have the big checks because you ain't a big star yet, but come on now. Not so sure about that shirt. I'm just saying. So Biggie act like he was all flustered, mesmerized. And then just when Biggie was about to go for the Biggie kiss, they gave Caitlyn and Biggie push. And AJ May pulled the best promo of her WWE career. See, once upon a time, these two were the best of friends. And these two went different directions. Caitlyn battled, fought, and clawed into eventually being the Divas champion, while AJ went from one guy to another guy to another guy, being a general manager, then go to another guy, loses her job, went to another guy. It was quite an eventful 2012 from AJ Lee. Let's just put it that way. And now, as far as I'm concerned, according to AJ, she's got nothing except for the Divas Championship that she worked so hard to get. AJ feels that once you were to win that title, Caitlyn has nothing. It's one thing to be tricked by your former best friend just days before the Diva Championship match. Now, AJ enters that match with momentum and the mental edge. Whatever anger. Now remember, whatever anger she has, she's going to find a way to put it to the side. There was a couple other matches that were made. Now that Ziggler has been cleared to compete, Del Rio will get his title opportunity against Ziggler at Payback. Vicky Guerrero has also announced that with Team Hell No falling apart and the fact that Bryan and Orton did get a non-title win by DQ over Rollins and Reigns, another unlikely team of Team RK No gets to challenge Rollins and Reigns for the tag team gold. And as for Kane, he challenged Dean Ambrose for the U.S. title. And not only that, ladies and gentlemen, but there's been a pre-show. But this Sunday is going to be a, what do you call it? Payback. That's not payback kickoff is what they're calling it. Payback kickoff. I guess once again WWE trying to add some NFL edge to it. Trying to bring that NBA NFL flavor. I wonder who's going to join Renee Young or Scott Stanford. It's definitely not going to be Kofi Kingston as he recovers from his injury. He's only going to be out of action. It was originally thought that he was going to be out for 3 to 4 months. But now he's just going to be out for at least over 2+ months. So he'll miss Payback, he'll miss Money in the Bank, and he'll miss SummerSlam. But he'll definitely be back in time for Night of Champions this September. But I guess we could say that his late spring and all the way of summer, he's done. Oh, there's been a change in the Intercontinental Championship match. Fandango last Friday on SmackDown suffered a concussion. And although he's passed some tests, WWE is not going to put him out there to compete. So because of that, Fandango, there will be no Fandangoing as Fandango has been ruled out of Payback. So it was originally supposed to be Miz versus Barrett for the Intercontinental title. But thanks to, I guess, an offer that Vicky Guerrero cannot refuse, out comes Paul Heyman. And now the new Paul Heyman guy, Curtis Axel, has now found himself in the Intercontinental title triple threat match to replace Fandango. And how ironic that now not only he's in the title match, but this Sunday is Father's Day. And we all know that he is the grandfather. His grandfather is Larry the Axe Handle. We all know that his father is WWE Hall of Famer Curtis Hennig, aka Mr. Perfect. We know that he used his father's first name he used his grandfather's nickname, and out comes Curtis Axel. Before Curtis Axel, he was known as Michael McGillicuddy. McGillicuddy is his mother's maiden name. So I guess at that time he was trying to avoid being named after his father or grandfather. And even though he's a former tag team champion under the name McGillicuddy, that character just wasn't cutting it. So now you get Paul Heyman, who gave you Lesnar. He's giving you Show. He's giving you Punk. He's giving you plenty of guys throughout the years. And now I'm sure that maybe I'm getting the sense that Paul Heyman fans are not really buying into Curtis Axel. But hey, if he can win the championship, Intercontinental title at Payback, a same title that his father once wore, and for that to be on Father's Day, that could be one of the biggest stories of Payback. That is, of course, if Axel were to win, of course. That's going to conclude your Monday Night Raw recap. Now for your main event recap, The Miz defeated Cody Rhodes, Damian Sandow defeated Sin Cara, and the Usos with the face paint defeated Tons of Funk. And as far as I'm concerned, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, if Bryan and Orton were unable to win the tag team gold this Sunday, the Usos should be next on deck to challenge Rollins and Reigns. I'm just putting it out there. They've been the only legitimate tag team. They've been a tag team since they debuted in the WWE several years ago. They've been bad guys, now they're good guys. They got the face paint, trying to rejuvenate themselves maybe, who knows. But WWE need to stop sleeping on the Usos and give them at least somewhat of a storyline. Let them work with Reigns and Rollins. Let's see what they can do. You didn't just give them face paint for them to be mid-card talent. Something has got to happen. If Bryan and Orton don't win the tag team titles this Sunday at Payback, the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, should be next. I'm just putting it out there. So that was quickly your main event recap there. Now, on to the Impact Wrestling recap here. We give you AJ Styles defeated Kurt Angle. And despite the interference of Aces and Eights, AJ handled his business and then he left. He left Angle high and dry. He did get some help. But the big story came for Sting. The question was on everybody's mind is, what does the future hold for the TNA Hall of Famer? Where does he go from here? Well, Sting of all people knows that strength are in numbers, which is why he announced last night on Impact that maybe he needs to get himself a family. In other words, maybe he needs to bring back a family. Sting announced that he's going to have his own version of the Main Event Mafia, a stable that was built several years ago that included Scott Steiner, Booker T, Kevin Nash, Samoa Joe, among others. The three guys that I mentioned, Steiner, Book, and Kevin Nash, are no longer in the TNA roster. Booker T now works for WWE. Scott Steiner, I don't know where he's been. And Kevin Nash, well, he's here and then he's there. Only Angle, Sting, and Samoa Joe from the Main Event Mafia are left in the TNA roster. So who knows? We'll find out within the next few weeks who's joining Sting in Main Event Mafia 2.0. But someone has to put a stop to Aces and Eights. Maybe the Main Event Mafia will. But it's a matter of who joins him. I don't think we're going to have AJ Styles joining that group. He's a main eventer in his own right, as far as I'm concerned. Samoa Joe, I don't know if he wants to go there. I'm going to say just Angle and Sting right now. I got to see who else. You just can't get mid-card guys. You need main eventers. You need former world champions. You can't just give me one-time main eventers. You got to give me consistent main eventers, just like the first go-around. Just like when you had Nash and Steiner and Booker T. All main eventers, all world champions, all main event caliber talent in their own ways. And then there was the Bound for Glory qualifying matches, which include Joseph Park went on to defeat Crimson, which include Gunner and James Storm defeated Bad. Well, actually, let me take that back. Bad Influence defeated Gunner and James Storm, which include Austin Aries defeated Eric Young. And what I find interesting about that is that even though what's interesting about AJ qualifying is, remember, Bound for Glory last year, he was the one that got pinned. The man that got pinned cannot compete for the world title until Bound for Glory this year. So, I guess Bound for Glory is when he'll be back in the title hunt. So that's obviously why he now finds himself in the Bound for Glory series. Oh, I almost forgot to mention, Magnus defeated Matt Morgan, Rob Terry, and Kenny King to qualify as well. So you got, and Mr. Anderson is going to be the only Aces and Eights member to qualify. So far, as we recap here, we got Anderson, we got Aries, we got Magnus, we got Park, we got Kazarian, we got Daniels, we got Bradley, we got Styles, we got Joe, and we got someone else I can't remember at the top of my head. But the Bound for Glory series spots are almost filled, so there's only a few spots remaining. And not only that, ladies and gentlemen, it's open fight night next Thursday on Impact. So I guess TNA gets to decide who gets the first call out. It's going to be Wood or is it going to be Hardy? We definitely shall wait and see on that. That concludes your Impact recap there. Now, I get to recap SmackDown here. Curtis Axel continued his momentum leading into Sunday as he defeated Intercontinental title champion Wade Barrett. Caitlyn versus Oksana. That match ended at a no contest. And it was now reported on WWE.com that Caitlyn has been fined $10,000 for putting her hands on an official. Not once, but twice. Oh, and by the way, Heath Slater defeated the Great Khali. Jericho and Del Rio defeated Ziggler and Big E. It was Dolph Ziggler's first match in over a month. Cleared to compete, and he will defend the World Heavyweight title up against Del Rio. Then we got Sheamus defeated Antonio Cesaro in the main event. Team Hell No and Team Hell No and Randy Orton defeat. They faced all three members of the Shield, and what a battle it was! The Shield as a trio has never been beaten in six-man tag team matches. Well, despite the friction, despite the egos, despite Daniel Bryan's obsession with the whole weak link part, and the fact that he was trying to break up with Kane on national television. It's funny how he wants to act. This dude, I get it. You always think that Daniel Bryan is a guy he's always someone that has a chip on his shoulder. He does. Huge chip on his shoulder. Always got something to prove. I say the quicker this tag team fiasco ends for Daniel Bryan, the better. Maybe he should be in the line for the World Heavyweight title at some point. I mean, Money in the Bank pay-per-view is next month. Maybe D. Bryan could be in the hunt and win his second MITB ladder. His briefcase. We definitely shall see. Because Daniel Bryan, I'm going to agree with Mick Foley. He's the MVP in the first half of 2013. Now, granted, he did not have a memorable WrestleMania match. He did team up with Kane to take on Biggie and Dolph Ziggler. But other than that, over this last month plus, Daniel Bryan has been stepping his game up. More power to that man. You can call him goat face or whatever. This dude can wrestle, and he's gonna put you to work. And despite all the friction, Daniel Bryan found Team Hell No and Randy Orton finally pulled through, giving the Shield their first defeat in six-man tag team match. And it was Daniel Bryan that, well, with help from Randy Orton, of course, gave Seth Rollins the RKO, which led to the no lock, which led to Rollins tapping out. The Shield with their first defeat ever as a trio. That gives Bryan, Orton, and Kane momentum leading into their matches this Sunday at Payback. That's going to conclude your SmackDown recap here. Now, next week on Triple Threat Wrestling Radio, I will be joined with the soon-to-be former owner of Magnificent Ladies Wrestling. Of course, I'm talking about Thomas Darnell. He's going to be joining me next week as we talk about the past, the present, and the future of Magnificent Ladies Wrestling. And I will recap Payback as well as Raw, Main Event, Impact, and SmackDown. I want to give a shout out to a good friend of mine. I was off the phone with her hours ago. Her name is Corey. Corey informed me when I told her that I was doing this show. She told me that she made an appearance at a WWE show. We're going to take it back to the Royal Rumble of 2012. Yeah, it was last year's Royal Rumble, or maybe it was 2 years ago. It was last year. I could have sworn it was at Atlanta, Georgia. I could be wrong. It could be last year. It could be the year prior. And there's this wrestler by the name of the Godfather. You know him from being the pimp, having his quote-unquote whole train. Well, Corey told me that she was one of them. As he made his way to the ring and he were to get eliminated, he was only there for probably a good 10, 15 seconds. And I'm like, wow, really? You was there? And she said, yeah, she was. I was like, that's interesting. I definitely need to YouTube the 2012 Royal Rumble and look into Godfather's appearance. I know what she looks like too, so I mean, and I did watch that pay per view 2012. I think that was one of the first pay per views I watched when I moved back here. Yes, it was 2012. Jeez, yeah, 2012 Royal Rumble. So that was quite an interesting flashback there. All right, now it's about that time for my predictions for the Payback pay per view. And I want to give a shout out to my cousin Dexter. I saw a picture of him with Jeff Hardy. I think he was at the Impact Wrestling show in South Carolina, and he said, if you were to meet Jeff Hardy, just make sure he don't get your face paint all over you. And I chuckled. He does have a lot of face paint, but I'll do my best if the opportunity presents itself. I'm already gonna meet Sting. I know I gotta keep that in mind too, but that's gonna be before the match, so I don't think he'll be having a lot of face paint that much. It's only gonna be on his face. It's not gonna be all over his body. But ladies and gentlemen, here is the Payback predictions, courtesy of Triple Threat Wrestling Radio and predicted by yours truly. Here we go. We start off with the Payback kickoff, aka pre-show. Sheamus going up against Damien Sandow to get you ready for the debut of Payback. Now, these two have been going at it with all these mental challenges. Chess, there was find the ball, and then there was some other thing that I couldn't comprehend. Well, the time for the mental is over. It's time to see how you can do mentally and physically. Damien Sandow has the upside. He has a bright future in the WWE going forward. Whether he's a singles competitor or whether he's teaming up with his friend Cody Rhodes with that mustache. But I'm going to go with the bro kick. I'm going with the great white Sheamus. Hey, sometimes you need a bro kick to set things straight. If you thought that computer took some abuse from the bro kick, just imagine what Sandow's going to get this Sunday night. I'm going with Sheamus to win on the Payback kickoff. Now, on to the Divas Championship match. AJ versus Caitlyn. Once upon a time, they were contestants at NXT Season 3. Then they became good friends. Then the friendship took a downward spiral. On one hand, Caitlyn tried to be there for her, but she got all crazy. Notice the trend. Crazy. And let's just say AJ didn't take too kind to her BFF, calling her crazy. Stating the obvious, but it is true. Now, AJ entered this Sunday with the mental advantage. How's Caitlyn going to react? How's Caitlyn going to respond? Can she focus on the task at hand? If Caitlyn takes AJ for granted, AJ's going to walk out of Chicago with the Divas Championship. But I truly believe this is going to be the toughest. This is going to be the biggest match in Caitlyn's career. Not only if you deal with someone, now AJ may not be the most physically tough, but she definitely played the mind games, and she played the mind games pretty well. And who knows, Biggie Langston may be there. Ziggler may be there as well. But you know the cliche, when there's a will, there's a way. I see Caitlyn finding a way to walk out of Chicago at Payback. Her payback will be fulfilled this Sunday night. I'm going to pick Caitlyn. Then we got the United States Championship on the line as Ambrose goes up against Kane. Remember, Ambrose won the U.S. title last month at the pay-per-view, and he's entering this match with the disadvantage unless he does get assistance for Rollins and Reigns. You're going up against a 7-foot monster. You're going up against Kane, former WWE champion, World Heavyweight champion, Tag Team champion, ECW champion, Money in the Bank winner. But he's never won the U.S. title. I feel like Ambrose with the advantage size-wise, but I think Ambrose is going to pull through. He's going to have enough will, and he may have some assistance as well. I'm going to say Dean Ambrose retains the United States Championship. Then the triple threat match. It was originally scheduled to be Barrett versus Miz versus Fandango, but due to a concussion, Fandango has been ruled out of the pay-per-view and the match all put together, and he's been replaced by the new Paul Heyman guy, Curtis Axel. And let's just say that the Barrett Barrage has a 33% chance of walking out of Chicago with the Intercontinental title. Curtis Axel, from my understanding, he's never been pinned, he's never been submitted, he's never lost since he became Curtis Axel. And how emotional would it be for Curtis Axel on Father's Day, the son of Mr. Perfect, the son of the late Kurt Hennig, may God bless his soul. How emotional would it be for him if he were to walk out of Payback with his first singles championship, let alone the same championship that your father once wore once upon a time? Mr. Perfect was one of the greatest Intercontinental champions of all time. I just don't see it happening. I see Ray Barrett gets the bullhammer on my homeboy, The Miz, and that the Barrett Barrage will stand strong and retain the Intercontinental title. Then we got Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins teaming up against the team of Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton, or as D. Bryan likes to refer to them as Team RK-No. Well, good news, they beat the Shield. Now let's see how they can do it with the tag team titles on the line. I truly believe that the Shield will regroup. I've already predicted it that Ambrose will beat Kane. I say it's going to be a clean sweep. All three members of the Shield will still be champions by the end of the night. I'm going with Rollins and Reigns to retain the tag team gold. Then, a semi-main event, Dolph Ziggler, the long-awaited title defense, up against Alberto Del Rio for the World Heavyweight title. Now, Del Rio was supposed to have his first title defense at Extreme Rules, but he suffered a concussion by Jack Swagger, which changed their match into a number one contenders I Quit match between Del Rio and Swagger. In the end, Swagger said the words "I quit." Del Rio has payback of his own. It was Dolph Ziggler who patiently waited and got himself cashed in the briefcase and became the World Heavyweight Champion for the second time. I don't see Dolph Ziggler finally winning back the title suffer a concussion, has his first title defense, and to lose it. I'm going to go with Dolph Ziggler to retain the belt. And then the main event, Cena versus Ryback for the WWE Championship. 3 stages of hell match. It will be the 4th 3 stages of hell match in the history of the WWE. The first stage will be a lumberjack match. The second stage will be a tables match. The third stage, if necessary, will be an ambulance match. So here's how I think who's going to win the falls. The first stage, I'm going to give it to Cena. The second stage, I'm going to go with Ryback. The third stage, I'm going to go with Cena. He puts Ryback in his place once and for all. And Cena's, let's see, almost 2-month title reign, the champ will still be here. And now I realize I forgot about one more match. I forgot about the match between CM Punk versus Chris Jericho. Somebody cue the Diddy song because CM Punk is coming back home. This will be CM Punk's first match since he lost to the dead man, The Undertaker, at WrestleMania. Since CM Punk became just another statistic. How ironic that CM Punk were to make his in-ring return. It would be at a pay-per-view event, let alone in his hometown, Chicago. CM Punk been sitting on the couch for over a month plus. And of course, he's been going to Chicago Cub game. He's been supporting his Chicago Blackhawks. It must be good to be a Chicagoan these days. Punk makes his return, and the Chicago Blackhawks are in the Stanley Cup Finals. How big would it be for CM Punk not only to beat Jericho in his hometown, but to see his Blackhawks become the Stanley Cup champions? I'm not a hockey fan, so I don't know the matchups in that. But I'm a wrestling fan, and I know Chris Jericho has something to prove. The last 2 times Jericho and Punk has faced each other, it was CM Punk that was on the winning end. WrestleMania last year and Extreme Rules, what a coincidence, in Punk's hometown of Chicago. So this will be the second time that they have a match against each other at Chicago at a pay-per-view. Jericho looking to prove that, well, he can beat CM Punk. CM Punk, on the other hand, is out to prove that he feels, and Paul Heyman feels, that he is still the best in the world. My prediction, I just don't see CM Punk losing in his hometown of Chicago. The crowd will be into it. No matter what CM Punk do, Chicago's gonna, they love hard. They're gonna believe in this man. I'm going with CM Punk to beat Jericho and go 3-0 against Y2J. And that concludes my pay-per-view predictions of WWE Payback. I'll make my recap next week. And not only that, I will be interviewing Thomas Darnell of Magnificent Ladies Wrestling. So be on the lookout for that. My interview with Hudson Envy, that's going to be recorded. It should be posted tomorrow night when I get back from the Impact Wrestling show. I want to thank the lovely Paris Kelly for joining me. And congrats on the radio opportunity. And go to magnificentladieswrestling.com, purchase some of her matches, and then purchase more of her matches for the June and the July tapings. The June tapings will be next Saturday. The July is later that month. Go to magnificentladieswrestling.com. Book her some matches, people. The more matches she gets, the better her chances to come back more and more and more. I'm Kenny C. I'm your host, and I'm out of here. Just a reminder, no chilling with Jeff Kenny C this Saturday. I'll be at the Impact Wrestling show. You have a good night. I'll see you next Friday right here on Triple Threat Wrestling Radio Live. Ustream.tv. Kenny C out. Good night, everybody.